Hey everyone, this is Dan and Drew. We're watching some more of our Friday Night Magic matches from May 5th. What we're going to be watching now is one of my games versus Spencer. In this, we're at game 3 again. I'm playing red, white, human aggro, and Spencer is playing kind of a home-brewed black, red, white deck, kind of control, looking to accelerate some bigger creatures.
I saw a deck like this at the most recent Star City Open.
Okay.
It was kind of a slower flow deck, so yeah, like fills his graveyard up with Faithless Lootings
Exactly.
and tries to unburrow rights like an Elishnorn or an Inferno Titan or something like that. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting deck. We'll see how it goes.
In fact, in game 2, he won game 2. He was able to hold off my aggro and stuck an Elishnorn that I was unable to recover from before it put me in my place.
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and start this game. I'm going first. I don't have a turn 1 play, but I know I was holding a Thalia in my hand. I know what kind of damage that caused him in game 1, so I stuck with it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're opening up on Thalia as your first play, that's perfectly reasonable versus this kind of a deck.
And in game 1 and 2, I didn't see much spot removal, so I don't think he really was prepared to deal with Athalia to get rid of her, get her off the board. So it kind of caused a lot of havoc. What you don't see right here, because our zoom's kind of filled in, he had a Faithless Looting, and in his graveyard he pitched some random card and a Grizzlebrand, and we'll see why that's relevant in a minute or so.
So another new card from Abyssin Restored. So.
Mm-hmm. I chose to run just two Slayer Strongholds in my list. I didn't have a turn 3 play, so you can see I activate Slayer Stronghold after to see if he responds to get some extra damage in there to kind of feel more aggressive without a turn 3 play.
Yeah. Did you have 4 Cavern Souls in your deck?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I found the Cavern Souls was, I think, only one game all night did I end up with a Cavern of Souls when I would have liked a mountain or something, because in the list I'm running Incinerates, Pillar of Flames, and 2 Bonfires.
Okay. Yeah, I can see playing probably 2 Slayers in this kind of a list.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably... Did you have any double red cards, or were they all single red?
They're all single red. I wanted to keep that from getting too crazy on a...
Yeah. The one thing I do know about playing like this red-white list versus like say maybe the more traditional like blue-white list that we're splashing for Moreland Haunt is that you probably can't play as many early double white cards.
For sure.
Cards like Grand Abolisher or even like Elite Inquisitor, which was seen a little bit of play. So your mana base is probably a little bit weirder, mm-hmm. I guess, is the word I'm looking for.
Well, in this list, I'm still kind of tweaking it, but I've dropped Elite Inquisitors and Grand Abolishers from the initial list. In the 2 slot, we have Thalias and the red Stormblood Berserkers.
Yeah, so that's probably good because that makes your a little bit easier to cast
mm-hmm.
your threats the turn you need to cast them. And in a deck like this, you need to be able to cast your 2-drop on turn 2, your 1-drop on turn 1, your 4-drop on turn 4. So
as we can see with my hero, up in the top is a zombie infestation that he cast last turn, cost him 3. And that dice is his 2/2 zombie. He pitched some cards for, and Necrotic Ooze, I believe, is the name of this card. What he has in play is the 4/3 creature that has all activated ability of creatures in his graveyard or in graveyards, I believe. And as I mentioned earlier, he's got a Grizzlebrand sitting in there, so he has the option to pay 7 life to draw 7 cards. Which you can see he's at 14 already, and I'm kind of liking my position with the hero and Thalia on the board, trying to put damage on.
Is that dice a 2/2 zombie?
It sure assuming? Is. So I know that I'm sitting on a Mirror Crusader in my hand. I'm sitting on a land, bonfire, and some other stuff. So I'm feeling all right if he throws his 4/3 in front of my hero. The damage has been done. The soldiers will be out there, and I have a Mirror Crusader to follow up with if I need to. So he's thinking about what he wants to do. He's got a couple cards in his hand. He's deciding how he wants to block. I have 5 land untapped, so I think he's kind of wary about what I might cast in response to things happening, what kind of tricks I have. He's going to decide to toss that 4/3 in front of the hero, because you don't want heroes running around too long or things get all kinds of crazy.
Yeah. Can't he can't he activate the Gristle brand ability
Hmm.
and then like pitch a bunch of cards to zombie infestation?
Yeah, actually, Andrew was watching the match and he mentioned that in a couple minutes. So here's what we'll talk about in a second. What he's thinking about, he's blocking the hero and he's contemplating using Grizzlebrand's ability.
Okay, so if he activates it, he'll go to 2.
Mm-hmm. Which is really risky play.
Well, the problem is if he does it before damage, can't you just activate Slayer's Stronghold and pump your unblocked token?
That's true. I could have done that.
Yeah, that's lethal, right? Like,
Yeah. But then I ended up just casting Bonfire for 2 because, hey, style.
Can you cast Bonfire with Thalia in play for 2?
Um, I don't know.
Because you have 5 mana and Bonfire is double X red, so you have to pay 5 to do 2 normally.
You're right.
All right, yeah. If you pump your
Any of the unblocked guys.
well, you can't pump Thalia because he can just let first strike damage resolve and then go to normal damage, and so but your token was unblocked, so you can pump the token and then that's lethal. So looks like Andrew's play was probably right, like where he activates before blockers and makes a lot of blockers.
Yeah, Andrew suggested after watching the matches, well, why don't you, instead of blocking with the ooze, the 4/3, pay 7 life, go down to 7, and then pitch a bunch of cards to use zombies as chump blockers, rather than getting your 4/3 in the way the hero labeled.
They're not chump blockers; they're 2/2s.
That's
like,
true.
Thalia
will take somebody out, but if he double blocks, he can get rid of Thalia. He can take out the soldiers.
Well, I mean, he could potentially make like 5 guys probably. And
figure he's 7 cards. He's got at least 3 in his hand if he wants to pitch them all.
Yeah, and then if he's got 5 guys and you have a hero and 2 tokens and a Thalia and he still has the ooze, he can even like block the Thalia. Well, I guess you have Stronghold though, but he can probably block in a way that's going to pretty much wipe your board and leave him with a couple guys. So yeah, probably a couple, couple of different ways to play the game, but
and I know we actually caught a Thalia mistake like this in game 2 where he actually tried to cast timely reinforcements with 3 with Thalia on the board, but we caught that before it happened. It says, oh, it's 4, so he had to take it back, and that put him in kind of a bad spot.
Yeah, Thalia, you always have to be aware of. I've been playing a couple games of Legacy of Green White Maverick, which has like 3 Thalias in it versus like the Rug Delver decks, and you have to be absolutely aware of what Thalia does when she's in play. You just have to kind of keep an eye on that.
Yeah, and I've been playing Thalia in the list when it was red with white with a splash of blue, and I'm used to paying 4 for like my swords or my 3 for my honors and things like that. I picked these bonfires up like an hour and a half before FNM started. Spencer said his deck was largely untested other than putting it together. So, this is the first night after Avacyn Restored came out, and you can see people, me forgetting my own Thalia cost for my own bonfire, or not thinking about how he could have used Grizzlebrand to make the tokens ahead of time. And definitely the type of little play mistakes that, you're going to see him, you're going to make them once, and you're going to avoid him in the future. Like, oh yeah, I remember when I did this.
Yep, fair enough.
So
yeah, interesting game.
And that was the game 3 of that match. So I think next in our next video, we're going to take some time to watch one of Drew's games.